Our first headline comes out of Tucson, where a Davis Mothman airman was mugged and beaten by three women for a total of $40. Now, I looked into this a little further, and there wasn't much to report on it, but I do know, according to the FBI, only about 4% of women made up for all robberies in the nation. And most of those women were just accomplices to these kind of crimes. So it was an anomaly just to have one woman commit an act of robbery, let alone three. Our next headline, I was looking over this post and I see that it says Senate acts to sweeten Latins, which is a pretty interesting headline. But I looked a little bit deeper into this, and in the 60s, we just dismissed our trade with Cuba. And this caused a lot of issues with our allies in Latin countries due to reforms to the Sugar Act. Now, JFK, in order to kind of quench the growing hostilities, he pushed Senate to create this reserve of about 150,000 tons of sugar to help balance what we've taken away from them. And if you haven't looked into the Sugar Act, I 100% recommend go in and do some of your own research. It's really fascinating stuff. We're going to take a little sidestep from politics and look at a weird headline. In St. Louis, a farmer petitioned the locals for a halting of operations at a local golf course because the stray balls were flying into his farm, and he was looking at his cows and they were getting sick. Apparently his cows were eating the golf balls as they were coming in, and I tried looking further into this as well, and there wasn't a lot of information on it. I guess the best way to stay off the internet is being from 1962. That's what I've learned anyways. The final one that I'm kind of want to look at before we get to our main event of the evening is, if you see here this picture, it's really dark. It's 1962, so bear with us. This is a local fireworks show that used to take place here in Yuma, Arizona, where people would gather for the American Legion at the fairgrounds for a giant barbecue. And they would sit on those giant pews you see that you generally sit on for the Demolition Derby, and you'd watch the fireworks go. Where at the same time, what a lot of people don't know about Yuma's history is the country club would put on their own private fireworks show, and people would line up to watch that as well. And I think most people remember the fireworks coming from the country club than downtown Yuma, where it used to come up from. It wasn't until the 70s when Ray Kroc's Desert Sun Stadium opened up that it got moved there and became the focal point for fireworks in Yuma, Arizona. Our final headline is something that I never knew was going on here, and I've been here my whole life, 30 years. We brought in two guests who were part of the very first one. They started it all. So I would like to introduce them, and let's get them a little more information from the main source. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
My name's Betsy Matthews Bowman.
I'm Chris Matthews.
And you guys started this parade, correct?
Yep, Mom started it. She, big patriot, and was stunned that there was no 4th of July Independence Day parade in Yuma. It was the year they moved here, I believe, 1961. And so she decided to start one and got a hold of some other friends here, started one. It started at our house. She provided and brought in all kinds of red, white, and blue crepe paper streamers. Kids decorated their bikes. And I don't know how many families it was then. There's pictures of us. My twin brother and I had been 2 years old, so somebody's pulling us in a wagon. They're on bikes, and whoever next door neighbors, and then her friend Marilyn Elliott, they lived off Arizona Avenue. They came in with their kids. I can't remember like how many people were in it then, but maybe 20 or 30, and just went up and down 25th Street in 25th Place, and then back to our house for watermelon and other snacks and cookies and stuff. And I remember the dads lighting firecrackers and throwing them in the tree wells. And so that's when it got started, was in, and it's gone on for 65 years.
65, wow. Did you guys see it taking on a annual role, or was it something that you guys wanted to make happen in Yuma? This was your goal, to make this a regular occurrence?
Yeah, I think she wanted to make it a regular occurrence. Just thought that, the town needed one. We need to recognize America's birthday and Independence Day, and knew it was going to be a continual thing. When they moved out of that neighborhood, then I think her name was Dorothy Warner, another neighbor, a friend of Mom's, took it on and kept it going. So over the years, other people have stepped up that live in the neighborhood and make sure that it keeps going on. The Yuma Lutheran Church down there became the starting point and uses their recreation center as a place for people to go and get water and juice and lemonade and things beforehand, and have things for kids to do. And then that's where people end up at the end. People bring food to contribute for people to have as snacks afterwards. So yeah, over the years, Vince, really great people continue to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it started out with strollers, bikes, and little things like that.
Right.
Shopping carts, maybe. I'm not. But how has it grown? Like, what were some new events and attractions that you guys were able to find and
But the
bring in?
girls were involved in horseback riding things, so there were years where there were horses in there, people riding horses. The fire truck became added in somewhere. The fire department provides a fire engine at the end of the parade. I'm thinking there probably have been those little motorized razors and scooters and skateboards. What other things have you've had? Flatbed trailers with people on them?
Yeah, through the years, it got a few years, it got really big. Mom had a good friend, Emily Shoup, who was on city council involved in politics. And so she came. And so there got where there were actually, some flatbeds, and there would be various county supervisors. Remember, Lucy Ship was on there, mayor, council members. And it kind of evolved through the years, just depending on the nature of the neighborhood. People move in and out, more kids, less kids, that kind of thing. Got quite big, and then it's kind of gotten back to the smaller, the neighborhood, just the neighborhood size. And again, kind of varies depending on whether it's Friday, Saturday, whatever, if people go out of town. But I do know for the 50th, the other lady who was also Marilyn Elliott, along with my mom, did come for the 50th. I remember Mom, she was so pleased, but she said, I never dreamed this would continue to go on like this. She said, I never dreamed it. But yeah.
Yeah, it was probably something to keep us busy, give us something to do while we were kids, right? That's what
Waiting
you
for
do when
school to
you're a
start.
parent. You're like, what are we going to do today? What can we do to keep the kids busy today?
Let's start a parade.
Let's start a parade. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, skateboards, walking, decorated strollers, wagons, horses, dune buggies.
If some neighbor
golf carts.
dresses up like Uncle Sam,
Yeah.
leads a parade walking like a drum major kind
Frank
of a thing.
Martinez, who's since
Yeah.
passed away, he was Uncle Sam, and he danced and had his baton. And a good friend, Lib Webb, who lived on 25th Place, one year she had a Statue of Liberty costume on. So, and like I say, I mean, we're so proud of Mama that this has continued and it's gone on. But I've told other people, I'm just pleased. I mean, they moved out of the neighborhood in '84 and still participated, went to it a lot. But it's continued because of other people in the neighborhood have stepped up to organize it.
Right.
And to have all these other people through the years that, it's a great legacy, but for the community is the way I look at it. Because if it hadn't been for people stepping up and continuing to do it, it wouldn't still be there. Right. And while it's in that area, other people hear about it, whatever. I mean, bring their kids, come out, and.
Have you noticed any struggles to keep it going, or has it been something that kind of just fueled itself as the years have gone on?
It's kind of just dealt with itself. I think a little bit, because they print flyers and then hand deliver those out in the area. So,
like Terry Hunt Rademacher, somebody I've known since grade school, she was active and involved in it. And I think when the year ends, and if their kids are outgrowing it, but they kind of recruit or find the next person to get involved who's got younger kids that wants to, and go, how would you like to help? So just asking for volunteers year after year.
Okay. And then can anybody just find you guys and get involved in it, or is it just that neighborhood? That's it.
Yeah, they can find us and get involved, or the people that we now know who are doing it. Betsy knows year to year who's the one doing it. So this woman had I think a death in the family, can't be here this time, but she produced the flyer and has been handing it out. You just gather at the Yuma Lutheran Church. Tries to start at 8 o'clock with a little presentation about the history of it, or Independence Day, and this being America's 250th and the 65th of this, we thought, let's try to make a bigger splash.
So is there anything like you can tell me that's maybe out of the ordinary for this year then, since it is such a big occasion for it? Or is that going to keep the surprise?
Well, she jokes about my twin brother, calls him the actual mayor of Yuma. I don't know how Mayor Nichols will feel about that, but yeah. So they made sure that I had to come back for it, and our sister from Idaho had to be here for it. So I think John and I, or all four of us, will be carrying the banner in the front.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wish we could get a military flyover. How about that? We've never had that before.
No, we haven't had
That'd be
that.
Super cool.
We've got a nephew in the Air Force. I wonder if he couldn't do something for us. That would be
The
fun.
Blue Angels.
Yeah,
That'd
that
be
would
really
make
cool.
it extra special. And then we're trying to reach out to friends that were in it when we grew up in this neighborhood, and trying to encourage them to come over and say, who doesn't want to come to Yuma on 4th of July?
Yeah, get the gang back together.
Yeah,
Everyone
exactly. It's kind of like
everyone
that.
likes a unity.
A little reunion
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, exactly.
And probably another contact is, I think it's a Kim at Christ Lutheran Church. But as they said, they do it as part of just neighborhood outreach.
Yeah, they host
They host it, and that's the way they look at it. It's their part. It's not theirs. It's not they're putting it on. They just provide, facilitate and provide facilities, and they look at it. They're part of the community in the neighborhood, and that's theirs. So, but that would be if somebody contacted the office, they would probably, because they've done it for all these years, and would be another place to contact. But yeah, I mean, that's the way I look at it. And anybody, kids or not, who want to come, and like I say, no, it's not fancy. I think maybe had a few people music at times with the flatbeds, had a boom box on and played music, and so it kind of fluctuates. Actually, a couple of years ago there was another horse in the parade, hadn't been for a while. One of the first grade teachers at Raleigh had a goose in it one year, and
one of the first grade teachers at Raleigh.
She, Mrs. Cochran.
Okay, I went to Raleigh. So
Did you?
Yeah, did you?
That's where
Yeah.
we all went.
Yeah, I was
You're a little younger than we are. Yeah, she actually lived over on 25th Place. There were a couple over there. So yeah, so we were in 2148 East 25th Street. So that's where it started. But yeah, so to me, if anybody came from all over, that's fine. So kind of come, it was a little more organized when it got bigger, but it's kind of back to its neighborhood roots, and so people kind of straggle out. We tried putting the kids on the bikes in front and the back. I think this year they need to be in the back again, because then they can spin around, because otherwise they're gone and we get strung out because other people walking. But so it's not like you think of the Veterans Day Parade or the Rodeo Parade, not quite that, but it's just people getting out and honoring 4th of July, Independence Day.
Was it ever wanting to be like that, like something so organized and so huge and monumental, or were you guys trying to keep it from being something that kind of rigid and structured?
I don't think any thought to that. Like I say, there were a
probably
number of
joked
years that
about
got quite, fairly, not
Huge.
that organized, but I mean, considerably bigger, where, like I say, what is it,
We never had the
veterans,
band in
that
it.
train that the VFW had, that was in there, the fire
right,
trucks. Like I say, the big flatbeds to have some of the dignitaries
course.
on, and but then they just mixed with everybody. I mean, it was just everybody come out and just walk or ride, and they have the 4 streets. It kind of loops around, and if people, because we know it's hot, they can drop off anytime if you swing back up there by the church. And like I say, afterwards the gym is open, and usually there's some bouncy houses in there for the little kids and just some light refreshments and stuff, and people bring water and just put them in an ice chest out front, and you can grab those as you want. And so kind of just
But we never
in
had
one
a
aspect
marching band or anything. We
No.
never did that kind of thing and get it bigger. And I guess at some point you were saying earlier that it might have been that when you get that big, then you've got to get liability insurance. You got to get the police to block things off. So it probably kind of got limited by, if we want to go that big, it gets complicated.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then all the advertising was always just
Word of mouth and hand flyers. Yeah,
Mhm.
walking around the neighborhood and
Yeah.
passing them out.
I think that the 50th did get the proclamation from the city, and anyway.
And you made me come back for that one too. I think you guys made me come back for that.
Yeah, but you love coming back for it, right?
I do.
It's
Yeah,
like-
I do. Yeah.
I'm the eldest of 4, so it's kind of like, I told them last year, you guys have to come. It'll be the 65th. If
Yeah.
they
The
come,
eldest, you have to
Yeah.
take
have
charge.
to come back. Yeah.
The youngest get to just slurp back.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, many thanks to all the people who've organized it through all these years, and just the people in the neighborhood are willing to come out and bring their kids and do it. So
okay. And you said it starts at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. 8
And
a.m.
that's when everyone meets for the introductions
The
in
introduction,
church
the
itself.
announcement, and then somebody says, "And we're off."
And then the people will gather across the streets. On which streets is it?
So it's on it ends on 25th Street. So it's 26 Wayer Place. You go down Engler Avenue to whichever one is the furthest, and then you loop up the other one, come back on Engler, down 25th Place, and up 25th Street, and that ends it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people come out of their houses and put lawn chairs and sit out in the front and watch. Yeah.
And there's some years that we have more in the parade that are watching, and it, like I say, it varies. It kind of depending on,
Right.
I think, the balance in the neighborhood and the day of the week that it falls on, if people are gone.
And if it's 100 degrees.
You guys just bear through. You're like, you know what? We're not doing this for the crowds. We're doing this for patriots.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for today. Yeah. Well, I thank you guys for coming in and teaching me something new that I didn't
About
know
your
was
town.
going on. I appreciate you guys for coming in. That's all we have for Yuma's Pages of the Past. I'm Chris. This
I'm
has
Chris
been
Matheus.
Also Chris.
Yeah.
And
Betsy.
And thank you guys for watching. Please stay tuned for more episodes of Pages of the Past, and you can always follow us. Also, if you have any cool tidbits of Yuma's history from this day, please comment, and thank you.
I will give you a little tidbit. The other Marilyn Elliott, who was with Mom, her husband Bob was an engineer out at YPG at the time, and what he was working on was classified, so we didn't find out till many years later he was working on the SR-71, the Blackbird.